My name is Gonzalo Isaza, and I will give you a brief demonstration of running steps, a batch file debugger by Stepping Software. In order to demonstrate the debugger, I'm going to create a project. Batch files should be organized in project in order to debug, because it groups all the executing files together. So I'm going to give my project the name of tutorial. When I do this, I see the project tree on the right side of the screen. It's divided in batch files, which I can edit and execute, view-only files, which are text files that I can only open in the editor, but which will not execute, and temporary files, which are created by running steps when unrolling for loops, and we'll see that a little later. In order to have something to debug, I'm going to add a new file to the project. It creates a simple file with some template command in it, which I'm going to delete, and I'm going to rename my file to tutorial.bat. Now I'm going to paste some code that I had prepared before the presentation from the tutorial. As soon as I do this, I can see there are some icons on the left side of the editor. These icons show the errors and warnings in my code. Every line of code where there's an error or warning has a squiggly line, and if I place the cursor over the squiggly line, then it shows what the error is. There's another way to see the errors and warnings in my file using the analysis buttons on the toolbar. This button will analyze the file currently open in the editor, and this one will analyze all the files in my project. I'll click the Analyze File. It displays all my errors and warnings in the bottom part of the screen in the Analysis window. If I double click on one of the errors, it'll highlight the error in the editor for about a second, so it's visually easy to find. I really like this feature. Let's move on to fix the errors. End of job command. End of job label is not defined. Okay, so here we currently have a typo. As soon as I fix the problem, the analyzer that is running in the background all the time will take care of removing the icon for the error. It knows the error has been fixed. Line 20. When defining the loop variable in a batch file, I need to use double percent signs. That is correct. So I remove this. The error, I still have a warning on that line, which is the same issue. I need double percent signs, but in the executing instruction, it could be valid to only use one, so it's only a warning. Let's move on. I have a warning in line 34. An invalid if command will result when the variable is not defined. In this case, I know the compare size variable will always have a numeric value and will always be defined, so I can ignore the warning. Line 36. Invalid or missing option in set command. Definitely the Z option is not valid for the set command. It should be the A option. I fixed the problem. Line 37. Assigned value starts or ends with spaces. Is this your intention? Every time you assign a variable a value and the instruction ends or starts with a space or has a space after the equal sign, that space will become part of the value you are assigning to the variable, and it leads to very hard to find bugs in batch files. By correcting this problem, running steps has saved me a lot of time in a very nasty type bug and difficult to find bug. Seems like I'm ready. I'm going to run my analyzer again. There's one more warning I want to fix. Number of set local commands does not match number of end local command. So in this case, I know where it is, but this would take a little bit more time to fix. Here is my set local command. It doesn't have an end local command. I will just add one here. Run my analyzer again, and the warning is gone. I'll save my file and start preparing for execution by defining the command line parameters. I will explain these in a second. Okay, so this batch file from the tutorial will go to a given folder that I defined as parameter 3, look for files of this extension, and find all the files that are bigger than this size. It's not a real world scenario, but it's a nice demonstration to learn to use the product. I'm ready to execute. In order to execute, I can use the buttons in the toolbar, step over, step into, go. I can also do the same from the menu or using the shortcut keys assigned to these commands. I prefer to use the keyboard, so I'll type F10. As soon as I start executing, I can see more windows showed up in my environment. At the bottom of the screen, I have the output window, which has the icon for the DOS prompt and basically displays the output of my batch file. It's very nice to have this window integrated into the environment because I don't have to swap back and forth to see what the output of my execution is. On the left side, I have the environment variables window showing the special variables, regular variables in my environment, which affect the execution of my file in most cases. I'll move on with my execution by typing F10. A new window has popped up. Before that, let's look at the output. Here is the output of the rem command which executed. Now, there's a new window here called the automatic expansion window. This window shows up every time a variable or a parameter needs to be replaced for execution. In this case, our parameter is %1, and it has been replaced by bat. This window helps me see the command exactly as it's going to execute after the replacement. So it's very convenient. I'm going to hit F10, and it highlights the instruction inside the if because the condition was true. Now it's going to execute go to end of help. At this point, I'm pretty familiar with some of my files, some of my code, and I know that all this code is fine, and I want to execute all the way to line 15. In order to do this, I can place a breakpoint by clicking on the left side of this editor window or by hitting F9. Now I can hit the go key and execution will continue all the way to line 15. I can see the output in the output window in the bottom. I hit a call to verify parameters. %* is replaced here by all the parameters that I passed to the command line. If I hit F11, I'm going to step into this call. If I hit F10, I'm going to step over the call. So I'll step into. It came to the label verify parameters, and my call stacks and arguments window at the bottom of the screen shows the different levels of the call stack and the parameters that were passed at each level. All these parameters can be changed, moved, deleted, and new parameters can be added. I'm going to hit F10. Execution continues. At this point, I want to step out of this routine because I can tell that it's okay. Let's say I know it's okay, this code is okay. I want to step out. I stepped in here by mistake or something. So I come to this button, step out of current routine. If I click it, it takes me out to the point where I did the call, the next instruction. The expansion window is showing cd/d 1000. cd is a command to change directory. At this point, I can see that 1000 doesn't make sense for this instruction. So I can tell that this is a mistake in the code. I should really have included parameter 3, which is the folder name. In order to change it, I can set the next line to the line just before, because running steps won't let me change the line that is going to be executed. So I can change the parameter to 3, save the file, right click again and set next line, and I can see now that it expanded to cd/d C Stepping Software Scripts 2. This is the right folder name. I have just fixed a problem that was affecting execution for the file. I'm going to continue to hit F10 and see the execution. Line 20 is a for instruction. This is an interesting instruction because it can be a little tough to know what the for loop is going to do. And here I'm going to demonstrate one of the nicest features of running steps. If I hit F11, step into a for loop, it will unroll the for loop and create a temporary file where I can see all the instructions next to each other. In this case, the loop was going to execute only once, and it would do call find files temp. If I step into the instruction, I'm here in find files. I'm going to step. It pushed into the temp command, and if temp folder, I'm sorry, and if I go to the output, I can see it did go into the temp folder. Now I have another for loop that looks quite long and maybe complicated for somebody who didn't write the file, somebody who's just maintaining it. If I hit F11 again, or step into, I'm going to click the button in the toolbar. It unrolls the for loop to show me how the for loop is going to execute. It'll execute 3 times with these values. I can hit F10 to step over, or I can hit F11 to step into. We have come here to a block instruction delimited by parentheses. If I hit F10, it's going to execute the whole block. If I hit step into, it's going to step into the individual instructions, and I can see how they execute one by one. Now I'm going to go into the call again, and this time I'm going to, whoops, I made a mistake here. I'm going to go back here, select the block, F10. Oh, the condition was false. Fine. I'll keep going. Now it's going to call find files, CD, which is my current directory. Hit F11. I'll hit F11 again. Okay, and this is what I wanted to show before. We selected the block, and if I hit F10, it's going to execute all the instructions in the block at once. If I step into it, it goes individually by each one of them. I continue my execution. Came here, it shows me that it found 4 files with size over 1000. Total size of all files is 6644. Echo done and local exit. My execution has been completed. During this demonstration, I showed you how the background analyzer will display errors and warnings in your code. I showed you how your batch files need to be organized in projects in order to debug, how you can unroll for loops during execution for easier bug catching. I showed you the call stack and arguments window. I showed you the background analyzer, how to use breakpoints, and how the output is integrated into the environment. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation, and look for other detailed videos in our website that go into each of these features in greater detail. Thank you.